Welcome back to the Elise podcast, where we help women in perimenopause and menopause thrive unapologetically from the inside out. All right, you're definitely going to want to bookmark this one or share this one, because I am just going to be giving you real easy stinking ways to get more protein in, and then give you some suggestions when it comes to how do I get more protein in my body in perimenopause. Now, let me just do a caveat here, is that I will say, at the time of this recording, so we are at the end of May 2025, most of us know we need to get more protein in. When I first started talking about this in 2020, it was like a secret. Women were scared of protein. It was like, oh no, I don't eat any protein. And now it's kind of gone in the opposite direction, because that's what we do as women. We love to overcomplicate the fuck out of everything. So I'd say like 50% of women come to me with like, I don't know how to get more protein, or I think I'm not eating enough protein and they're not. And then the other 50% swung the pendulum and they're like overeating protein. There's protein in every fucking thing they're eating: protein bread, protein cookies, protein ice cream. And they're just like, hey, here's a pizza crust and it's got protein in it. And then they're having gut dysregularity, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, weight gain, belly fat. And it's just, it's not necessary. So when I first started my business, I did really start off as a macro coach, and I've been totally transparent about that. I even had a coaching program, a group coaching program called FMA, or Functional Macros Academy, where I taught a 6-week course on macros. And I'll tell you, it was so fucking popular. I used to run it 4 times a year, then twice a year. And then I had to retire it because the market that I was servicing started to change. And I always say, like, this was very organic for me. Just women started to gravitate towards me, asking more about hormones and more about the weight loss on that functional side and that perimenopausal side. And so naturally, my interest also shifted. And then I wanted to not be known as the macro coach anymore. And I started to just kind of pull away. And so I then retired that program. If you are looking for strictly information on macros, that course, that 6-week course, is now a do-it-yourself course called FMA Online. And it is on my website, ready to go for $197. All right. So you can go ahead and get that. I'll link it below. But when I was in that macro counting and everybody was like just getting used to having more protein, I was very much, transparently speaking, when I know better, I do better. But what I knew then was like everybody needed more protein. And I like to start people at a higher level of protein. So in today's world, and I was just having this discussion with my best friend yesterday, actually, where he was telling me that, like, you know, he was trying to maintain a certain amount of calories and whatnot. And I'm like, holy fuck, you have way too much protein in your diet. Like, he's training for something in particular. And I'm like, you actually need more carbs. And so we need to pull the protein down. And he's like, but I need my protein. I'm like, you do need protein, but like, you've overshot it. You're good. We can pull that down a little bit. So, I want you to remember that, like, there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. And so again, we swing the pendulum and we're like, I need more protein. We're eating protein, everything. So as a general rule, I like to have at least 100 grams of protein as a woman. Now, if you find that hard to sustain, then we have to have a conversation. And if you're like, I eat so much more than that, then we need to have another conversation. Now, again, it's going to depend on what your goals are. So someone like me at 125 pounds, I can hit, 150 grams of protein pretty easily for me. However, it's going to come at the expense of lower carbs. So when I'm in a season of, let's say, wanting to get a little bit more lean, but I've got a heavy focus on bodybuilding, then I'm going to have a heavier focus on protein, and my diet is not going to be fun or exciting. But like right now I'm in maintenance. And so my protein is a lot lower. I'm at like 100, I think I'm at 130 grams of protein and a lot more carbs. So my diet is a lot more fun, more flexible. And so I think the other thing I want to drive across is that everything fucking counts. And if you haven't gone back and listened to that episode, you're going to want to do that. But, if you're like, well, I'm having 150 grams of protein, but I still want to eat the ice cream, then the calories and the protein are still there. And that could be why you're gaining weight. All right. So if a great place to start would be at 100 grams of protein. And then ideally, like, depending on your size and your goals, we want to be looking at like 120 to 130 grams of protein is where, like, I see most women who have an ideal body weight kind of sit below. Now, the easy way of looking at it is like 1 pound of protein per ideal pound of body weight. 1 pound. Oh my God. 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of ideal body weight, right? So let's say you're a 150-pound woman, then that's going to be 150 grams. So that's a lot. And so that's where I like to go by like 1.7 to 1.8 instead of that 1 gram per pound. So you can go ahead and try that. But again, I'll link below my macro guide as well. So if you're interested in really finding out how much protein you need, you can go ahead and take a look at that. All right, I digress. So let's talk about the easiest way to get more protein in your diet. Ready? Take a pen and pencil and write this down. It is to double up what you're already doing. So just fucking eat more of what you're already eating. So I love this. I have protein every day, Elise. I have 1 egg on a toast. Okay. 1 egg is 6 grams of protein. That is not a lot. So what you're going to want to do is like double that up. Can you have 2 eggs? Can you add some egg whites to that? Or I have like 3 ounces of chicken. Can you have 4? Or, whatever it is, can you have more of what you're already doing? Now, don't go crazy and swing the pendulum where you're like, I have 3 slices of turkey and now I have 6 and now I'm thirsty all day, or I'm having 12 eggs for breakfast. All right. There is a limit on that. But the easiest way to get more protein, instead of thinking of additional sources, is like, how much protein are you already getting? And so we want to aim, my general rule, if I were to make one, is I want you to have minimum 30 grams of protein per meal per day. So assuming you're having 3 meals a day minimum, then that's 90 grams total of protein that you're going to have. But chances are it's going to be 30 to 40 grams per meal. So some of them are going to be a little bit more and you'll hit your 100 really easy. Now, maybe like me, you have that fourth meal or that like mini meal between lunch and dinner. So like my lunch is at 12. Like my typical day is like I stop from 12 to 1. I have lunch, I go for a walk, and I get back to work. And then dinner is like 5:30 or 6, depending on what activities we have. That's a really long time to go without eating. And so I will have a snack or a mini meal around 3 or 3:30, and then either get back to work or pick up a kid or 2 or anything like that. All right. So then at that mini meal, you're going to want to make sure that there's about 10 to 15 grams of protein. So think of like halving it, right? If you want to aim for 30 grams of protein per meal, then you're going to want to definitely have that. And one of the ways that I love to do that is with my protein meals. So if you're in Canada, there's this wonderful company called Protein Meals. I'll link it below. And you can get a packet of oatmeal. It is gluten-free, it is dairy-free, and it comes with 30 grams of protein in it. So it's great for travel. So easy to take with you anywhere. But I also use this as my typical snack during the day. So I will half it. All right. So I weigh it out and I just take half a packet at a time. Saves me some money there too. So it is like 15 grams of protein, which is perfect for that snack. And then I have it for 2 days. If you're in the US, there is another company that is equivalent, which is called Creatures of Habit. Now, if you're in Canada, then I'm going to drop my link below and then you can go ahead and get 10% off when you order. So make sure that you use that code, which by the way is Elise. No, it's Elise 10. And then you can go ahead and just save on that. So really stupid, easy stuff right there. Now, I will say I've tried to make oatmeal because I used to be obsessed with oatmeal and eggs, but I tried to replicate this and do my own oatmeal with protein. And it was fucking disgusting that I was like, I don't need this in my life. I need quick sources. So this is what I do. However, if you're looking to like, hey, how can I get different sources of protein? And it can be easier than you think. So here's 10 protein sources that are super easy. Now, if you're vegan, you're not going to want to listen to this because they're mostly dairy they're animal based, I would say. Now, I am dairy free and I'm gluten free. So a lot of these I can't have, and I still manage to hit a fuck ton of protein. All right. So the first being Greek yogurt. And I think that if there's one food, I can sometimes tolerate Greek yogurt, but not all the time. But if there's one food that I could just like wave a magic wand and never have issues with, it would 100% be Greek yogurt. Because at 1 cup, you're getting 15 to 20 grams of protein. So easy to do. Great addition to a breakfast or great alone as a snack. Be careful here if you're someone that is like, and I add granola, because granola is loaded with calories. So all of a sudden you're like, I have, granola and Greek yogurt for breakfast, and you're packing on the pounds. All right. So just make sure that you weigh out your granola if you're doing that. The second is cottage cheese. And I will also do a caveat that I am not one to go for this crazy, stupid cottage cheese trend where it's like, I'm going to bake with cottage cheese and I'm making bagels with cottage cheese. Again, that's just like the protein and everything what we don't need. I used to love cottage cheese when I was on mat leave with Leia. That's what I had every single day. This was before I gave up dairy, so I was sick a lot. But my favorite thing to have was like cottage cheese with cucumbers and tomatoes. Oh my God. Thinking about it just makes me want to drool. But you've got about 12 to 18 grams per half a cup. It is so good for slowing digestion down. It is really high in casein protein. So If you're someone who is struggling with insulin resistance, for example, that's going to be really great. And just to go back for Greek yogurt, also really great for gut health and blood sugar regulation. So blood sugar regulation is going to be any food that slows down that release of glucose. All right. So again, anything that's high in protein or high in fat is going to have that component to it. Third one would be eggs and or egg whites. I flip and flop with eggs and egg whites. I personally hate egg whites. The idea of omelets with an egg white makes me want to barf. I don't like egg whites on their own. However, and I've even done this with my kids because they saw me doing it, so they naturally do it, is when I make eggs, I will add egg whites to it. So I'll do one egg and egg whites, or I'll do two eggs and some egg whites. And I like the flavor of that. So it's really easy to get. Just remember that one egg is only 6 grams of protein. So yes, it is a complete source of protein. It is a whole food. It is amazing, but you're going to have to really add more things to it if you think that's the only source you're having for breakfast. The fourth is my stupid easy trick, which is a protein shake. Now, I personally love Legion. So I have tried so many plant-based protein powders out there. And if you are someone who can tolerate dairy, then 100% have whey or casein protein. Whey protein is going to be your easiest source to get to. It's going to be delicious. Now, the next question is like, where do I get it? Okay, be careful here because a lot of companies make a lot of whey protein. You can get protein powder anywhere today, including like, I don't know, the gas station. So just be very cautious of the kind that you're getting. There's a lot of fillers in there. There's a lot of artificial flavors and a lot of shit that gets put in there that gives us digestive issues. And we think it's because of the whey or we think it's because of the powder, but it's really just all the fillers that they put in there. So I personally love Legion for this. Now, Legion also has a plant-based one. So if you're someone like me who can't tolerate dairy or you're vegan, their plant-based protein is the best fucking protein you've ever had in your life. And I've tried every single kind. They're mostly chalky. I've done the like plug the nose, take it back because I needed to get it in. But now I won't ever go away from Legion. So I am obsessed with the Dutch chocolate flavor, but their cinnamon cereal is also fucking amazing and makes an amazing creamy. If you take that and you add it to, you put some almond milk in a creamy and you freeze that with a scoop of cinnamon cereal, plant-based protein, it is delicious. And I will go ahead and link that below for Legion. And if you use code Elise, then you're going to get 20% off. So you're going to want to make sure that you use that code to get 20% off. And I'll talk about supplements another time. But again, if you're not already doing protein shakes, go ahead and give this a try. And if you hate it, they will refund you. So don't worry about, wasting money. It's just not going to happen. You're going to love it. And it is third-party tested. So it is really good quality on that. All right. Next up is the easiest motherfucker. I do this every single day, which is chicken. So if you're someone who hates chicken, I'm really sorry to say this isn't going to be as easy use for you, but you can do chicken breast, rotisserie chicken, chicken thighs, whatever you want. And about 3 ounces is going to give you about 25 grams of protein. Now, personally, for me, 4 ounces is my sweet spot. If I have more than 4 ounces, so like 5 ounces, digestively speaking, it's not the greatest for me. But I used to do 6 ounces back in the day when I was like swinging the pendulum to more. So 4 ounces for me keeps me satiated, keeps me full, and gives me enough amount of carbs to complement my meal that I am completely satisfied, and it's really delicious. So really stupid, easy thing to do. It's something that I also take traveling. So I'll take my shake when I'm traveling. I'll take my oatmeal when I'm traveling. I'll take protein powder, like I said, my shake when I'm traveling, but I'll typically take a couple of breasts of chicken. And that way, when I'm at the airport, I will get something else with it. So I may grab some snacks or something like yummy and then have it with the chicken. And it's really easy. And again, simple to use. Number 6 would be canned tuna or salmon. So again, not having tuna every fucking day because of the mercury, but either canned tuna or salmon is stupid easy. You can even get the snack packs of those, and you can also do it in chicken, so that your 15-gram snack could be just that with some crackers or whatnot. But opening up a can of tuna, we call this. Coach Christine on my team calls it the oh shit meals. It's like opening a can of tuna, having some cucumbers. I like to have pickles, and then some rice or bread, and you've got a perfect oh shit, I forgot to cook meal right there. It's so easy. Also high in omega-3s and so anti-inflammatory. So really, really good for the body. Next up is edamame. If you're like me or my kids, you just love fucking edamame. Of course, these are shelled, and we want to make sure that for like 1 cup is about 17 grams of protein. So if you are weighing out with the shells, then you're going to definitely need more than that, but really easy to use. Great for a snack as well. So I used to get the ones from Costco that were in the small little packets, and I would just pop those into the microwave, and I would have that for a snack, and my kids would have that for a snack as well. And they loved it. Also great to have for an appetizer. If you're having like pizza for dinner or something and you're like, how can I add more protein? Just pop some edamame out. It's easy. It's a crowd pleaser. Stupid easy. Next up, number 8 is turkey or chicken sausage. We call these like our pepperoni sticks at home. Also get these from Costco and my kids love them. So if they're looking for like snacks or something in between meals, it's not always about having, the popcorners or the goldfish. It's like, hey, can you have some fruit or can you have a pepperoni stick or a sausage stick? They're super easy. Of course, wanting to make sure they're nitrate free, and they can go anywhere from like 12 up to 20 grams a stick. Also really easy to take traveling. You can do this in the form of a jerky as well. Next up, number 9 will be lentils and or chickpeas, and about 13 to 18, grams per serving. But I will caution you, you don't need to make everything like chickpea or lentil based. So there's that chickpea pasta, there's lentil pasta, and so many people get this. I used to do Costco hauls where I would this was on my gram. I don't go to Costco anymore because Albert does it, but I used to go and just say all the shit I don't buy and all the shit I love to buy. And it was the chickpea pasta that I never bought because it is so fucking high in carbs, and carbs are not the enemy. Okay. However, when we look at chickpea pasta, I am like, we are mistaken. It is marketing that we think we're eating this protein pasta and then we're getting a lot of gut dysfunction because we're eating too much of it. You're better off making plain pasta and then just adding some chickpeas to it or adding other protein sources to it. I also look at this from a blood sugar standpoint, and the amount of carbs that were in a serving were so high that it's going to spike Owen's blood sugar, my son with diabetes, which means it's going to spike everyone's blood sugar. And so no matter what, you're going to need something to slow that fucker down. So just be careful with that, but also a great source. Lentils is amazing. I used to make a lot of soups back in the day when my kids were really little, and I would always just throw lentils and or peas in there. Those are also great sources of protein. And then lastly, there is tofu, which is about 15, to 25 grams per serving of protein, depending on how you use it. And again, I'm not a huge tofu fan. I used to make it, again, back when my kids were little. I feel like when my kids were little, I was more creative in cooking. Probably had a lot more time on my hands, but I'm not a huge tofu fan. So if you are someone who enjoys tofu, it is also super easy. I used to make it actually so often, and I used to cook it like I would chicken. So marinate it for like overnight, and it was delicious. My kids loved it, and I did sometimes even fry it up in the deep fryer or in the air fryer, so it tasted like a little bit crispy, and my kids loved that. All right. That's a lot on the protein. Hopefully some of those sources work for you. Let me know below which sources of protein did you like, which ones did I miss? And of course, I'm dropping all those links below because I'm here to make things easy for you. Until the next time.